Hello and welcome to Procrastination Point's video Snark. I read bad books so that you don't have to. I'm continuing my read-through of A Touch of Darkness by Scarlet St. Clair. Not the first video, go check out the others, links are posted below. Chapter 9. At the end of the previous chapter, Hades had offered to let Persephone pick a game to play. In this chapter, the game she picked was rock, paper, scissors. Out of all of the games of the freaking universe, why did she pick that one? And it's not even so much the fact that she picked that game, but a big part of it is because Hades has apparently never even heard of it before. The guy is literally the god of the afterlife, and he runs what's probably a multi-million-dollar casino/nightclub. But rock, paper, scissors? That's going too far. When Persephone wins the first two rounds, she asks him about the contracts, asking him that those people who have addictions, and isn't addiction a disease. However, when Hades wins the third round, he asks her what it is that she would change, which is honestly an amazing question. Persephone talks about paying to send people to rehab, which is a fair starting point, but I feel like Hades also has a good point in forcing people to undergo change. So I'm sorry, but I'm still on Team Hades here. Hades then notices the cut on Persephone's hand, which she got by foolishly trying to climb over the garden wall earlier. He asks her how it happened and then heals her. Persephone asks why it is that he cares so much. Before he can answer, Minthy comes in. She's surprised, angry, and then jealous to see Persephone there, clearly being way too close to Hades for her liking, which part of me respects that. If you think that you're in a relationship and see some girl snuggling up with your man, need further context between Hades and Minthy for me to make further comment, however. Anyway, Minthy says that Charon has caught an intruder. Hades asks that Persephone come with him to deal with this. They go down to his kingdom where he sits upon his throne, but then he makes another throne for Persephone, insisting that she's a goddess and deserves one too. Anyway, as you probably guessed, it's Orpheus there to reclaim the soul of Eurydice, which this book doesn't have to be just going down all of the ancient Greek stories, you know. Persephone takes an interest in Orpheus, asking him about his wife, and I get that it's sad when somebody you love suddenly dies, but again, Team Hades here, you can't just exchange souls or bring back the dead just because somebody cried in front of the god of the underworld. And I know that this is how the original Orpheus and Eurydice story went, but still, within the context of this story, with Persephone already having once stomped her foot and screamed out, "That's not fair!" Persephone's actions in this situation are just reminding the reader that she's nothing but a spoiled brat who throws a fit if she doesn't get her way. But apparently Hades has brought people back to life for some more, and Persephone calls him out, but Hades says that she doesn't know what she's speaking of, which is fair enough, I suppose. Minthy wants to throw Persephone out, but Hades tells her to be quiet. After Minthy leaves, Persephone says that Hades mocked Orpheus's love, but Hades is like, how is refusing to bend the laws of nature for one man now mocking love? And this book is doing literally nothing to change my opinion that Persephone isn't anything but the immature child who throws a tantrum when she doesn't get her way. She is literally throwing a tantrum right now. And then she storms out, because that's what mature people do. Chapter 10. The next day, Persephone goes into the office earlier than usual with the intent on getting started on her article about Hades, which, again, I don't know what she thinks that she has on him, because from where I'm sitting, here's a man who's forcing people to look their addictions in the eye and defeat them. Here's a man who refuses to be cowed by a grieving man's tears and breaks the law of nature for selfish reasons. But go off, I guess. She finds Adonis talking with Valerie, and Adonis asks her about her trip to Nevernight. He expresses surprise when Persephone says that she's going to write the article and that Hades didn't try to talk her out of it, but Persephone is still fuming from the Orpheus thing, and she says that nothing could change her mind. One was a manipulative, powerful god who'd been exiled from the world so long he didn't seem to understand people. Those are rich words, considering that Persephone is a girl who is so sheltered that she doesn't understand how the real world functions. She starts writing, and mercifully we don't actually see much of what she's writing, although I'm sure that what she wrote would be terrible considering the sour mood that she's in. However, as she's doing this, she keeps thinking about how full of contradictions that Hades is. She wants so desperately for Hades to be this soul-sucking monster, but she remembers the way that he'd healed her, the way that he'd kissed her, and I know that I'm starting to sound like a broken record over the entire thing, but Hades didn't exactly stand over Orpheus and laugh evilly about Eurydice, which is practically what Persephone was now thinking happened. He simply told Orpheus the truth about how he couldn't bend the laws of nature for one man. Persephone is trying to wrap up what she'd written when she gets a call from Valerie that Demeter is downstairs for her. Demeter reminds her daughter that they always go out to lunch on Monday, but Persephone is so busy, fuming over Hades that she decides to blow off their lunch date. Demeter is rather taken aback by this and then quickly leaves when Persephone suggests that they reschedule. This is more surprising to Persephone because she is bracing herself for a huge blowout fight. When Persephone gets back to her desk, she sees Adonis reading what she'd written. She gets really angry over the entire thing, although Adonis is quick to reassure her that he was only just looking over what she had and doesn't intend to steal her work. Dimitri comes in and asks if everything is okay, but as soon as Persephone lies and says yes, she feels like she's going to regret that. A few days later, Persephone goes to Nevernight so that she can tend to her garden. She'd been in a study group and hadn't felt like changing, so she goes to the club in yoga pants and her hair looking messy. Inside, she meets up with Hermes. As you might imagine, the messenger god hears things and naturally has heard of her deal with Hades. However, he doesn't exactly see things the way Persephone does and doesn't blame her for getting into the situation. Inside the club, Persephone realizes that she can't teleport. She goes into his office with Hermes in tow and realizes that the doorway to the underworld is closed. She thinks that she's offended Hades somehow, but never once does she think that he maybe closed it after the Styx incident because he doesn't want any more morons stumbling into the land of the dead and deciding to go swimming. Hermes takes Persephone into the mirror in Hades' office where the two of them watch as Minthy and Hades come in, clearly arguing over something, but there's no context, so I don't know what else to say about it right now. Minthy leaves and a woman comes in. She asks for her soul in exchange for the health of her sick daughter. Hades refuses the woman's soul, but then tells the woman that the sick daughter has his favor and sends her home to her child. He only asks that the woman tell nobody about this. As soon as the woman leaves, Hades pulls Persephone and Hades from the mirror. Persephone complains that he seems to have revoked her favor and she can't get into the garden, but then Hades sends her to the garden and the chapter ends there. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to support me. The first is watching this video as well as all my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all of your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main Snarks, you can find even more Snark on my Patreon. You can access it for $1 a month. Plus, you also get early access to my main Tumblr Snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to snark your writing? I do that too. For just $3 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well. $3 for every 5,000 words. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of erotic short stories and now 2 full-length novels. I also sometimes run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you can know when I might be offering more things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys.